Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Pastyatya Satarine Panchakalpa Tarubhischa Kripa Sindhu Vaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I'll start off by reading one statement by Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, which is from Sri Harinam Chintamani, just to preface the whole topic of the holy name. It begins by saying, there is no vow like chanting the holy name, no knowledge superior to it, no meditation which comes anywhere near it. It gives the highest result. No penance is equal to it, and nothing is as potent or powerful as the holy name. Chanting is the greatest act of piety and the supreme refuge. Even the words of the Vedas do not possess sufficient power to describe its magnitude. Chanting is the highest path to liberation, peace, and eternal life. It is the pinnacle of devotion, the heart's joyous proclivity and attraction, and the best form of remembrance of the Supreme Lord. The holy name has appeared solely for the benefit of the living entities as their Lord and Master, their supreme worshipable object, and their spiritual guide and mentor. Whoever continuously chants Lord Krishna's holy name, even in the sleep, can easily realize that the name is a direct manifestation of Krishna himself, in spite of the influence of Kali Yuga. So we get a little, just a drop of the glories of the holy name in this particular glorification by Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. And as it's mentioned there, even the Vedas itself cannot fully understand or glorify the holy name. It's the mercy manifestation in this age, as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave it so much emphasis in his practice and in the preaching that he did. He spoke about it, he glorified it, he practiced it, and he gave it to others. And he made it his main form of reaching the conditioned souls. Lord Chaitanya also quotes one verse from the Brihat Naradiya Purana, Harer Nama, Eva Kevalam, alone Nasti Eva Gatir Anyata. That when you want to emphasize a point and you want to make sure that emphasis is complete, then the Vedas give indication that one should speak it 3 times. So when 3 times are emphasized on any point, that means there is no other consideration than what is being stated. So in this emphasis on the holy name, it's understood that in this age of Kali, it is the light, the only light, the bright light in this dark age of Kali. As Sukadev Goswami speaks in Srimad Bhagavatam, Maharaj Parikshit, Kalir Dosha Nidhi, Rajan Asti Eko Mahagun, Kirtana Eva Krishnasya, Mukta Sangam Padam Bhajet. In this statement, he describes that this Kali Yuga is full of faults. There are so many faults. It's easy to find faults. It's very difficult to sometimes find any good qualities amongst the general population. But we find that amongst all this, Kali Yuga is the best of all ages. Because although it's the lowest, the most degraded, and most difficult age to live in, from both materially and spiritually, there's one bright light that pushes back the complete darkness of this age of Kali. and that is chanting the holy names of the Lord. It is so powerful, so direct. It awakens immediately one's attraction to Krishna, purifies the heart, gives one transcendental happiness, and protects one against all material dangers. A holy name cannot be glorified, it can only be appreciated for what it has given to us in the form of it's the mercy manifestation in this age. It's not coming from anything in this material world, although it's sung and glorified by the great souls. It is delivered directly from Goloka Vrindavan. As Narottam Das Thakur directly states, Golokera Premadana Harinam Sankirtan Ratin Jan Milo Kene Upai. So there is no more glorious, merciful manifestation coming in this age from the spiritual world than Krishna in the form of his holy name. There's one verse I'd like to quote. It's from Padma Purana. It gives a real clear understanding of the glories of the holy name and its position. It says, Nama Chintamani Krishnas Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purnya Sudya Nitya Mukta Abhinatvam Nami Namino. Chintamani in this verse means desire tree. It can fulfill all of one's desire, the holy name. It is pure. It has nothing to do with anything material. It is not simply a combination of 5 letters put together to form a name. It is actually a powerful form of the Lord as he appears in this name in the form of sound. To chant the holy names is quite easy, but to chant it the way it should be chanted requires some determination and some practice and some long-term efforts. That means we have to apply our attention, our determination, our energy in such a way that we understand that the holy name is the most important part of our spiritual practice. It's the foundation for everything we do, and it's the success for everything we do. It fixes the mind on Krishna and on devotional service, and it empowers one with great amounts of intelligence and determination. But one has to be very careful to avoid the offenses in chanting the holy names. And therefore, when Srila Prabhupada would give the initiation ceremonies, practically every initiation ceremony he gave, maybe there was a few he didn't, where he had the holy name, the 10 offenses to the holy name spoken as a prelude to the entire initiation ceremony. So to emphasize that the principle of bhakti is that there's certain things we have to avoid. Devotees generally understand clearly what we need to do, but we get trapped many times in the wrong things, or we're not aware of those. So therefore, one should be very careful to understand what are those 10 offenses and how to avoid them. Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur explains that the 11th offense, which is called pramada means inattention. The actual translation of the word pramada means madness. It's quite interesting that inattention and the word madness are synonymous in this translation. So pramada means that we're calling Krishna by chanting his holy name, but we are not being attentive to receive him by keeping our concentration on the holy name. So we have to practice this attention. As Bhakti Vinod Thakur emphasizes, to 10 offenses of the holy name can be easily avoided by carefully following this 11th offense. And then, of course, the contrary is also true, that if we are inattentive in practicing chanting the holy names, then we will be more prone to commit the other 10 offenses, one or more of them. So this attention is rare, as Bhakti Vinod Thakur says, if you want to see where you should apply your attention for spiritual advancement, he said, this is here. Try to hear nicely and approach the holy name as if you were approaching Krishna himself. Because actually you are, in that sense, because the holy name is non-different than Krishna. Quoting that verse, Abhinna Tvam, Nami Nami No, the last line contains the word Abhinna. Bhinna means different, Abhinna means the same or non-different. So he who is named and the name itself, making the distinction between he who is named and the name, are the same. There's no difference. This no difference understanding is not something we can intellectualize, because when we see two things that are apparently different, we can't understand the sameness of it. But on the spiritual platform, these things are easily understood. And that comes when the devotee starts to purify their heart. When they chant the holy names, they can start to experience the presence of Krishna in his holy name. All of us are chanting, and we're all getting some experience of the glories of the holy name, the mercy of the holy name. But that is just a small, tiny, insignificant, immeasurable drop of the mercy that is available. So this holy name is an unlimited ocean of transcendental mercy, transcendental power, transcendental knowledge, and unlimited bliss. As Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says in the Shikshastakam prayers, he writes the first verse, Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam. The entire verse is Chaito Darpana Marjanam Bhava Maha Dirvagni Nirvabanam Shreyakaiva Vichandrika Vitaranam Vidya Vidhu Jivanam Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam. Ananda means bliss, unlimited. Vardhanam refers to ocean, and Buddhi means deep. It's an unlimited ocean of deep mercy that comes, deep happiness that comes from chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. There's nothing that can compare to it, and there's nothing that can satisfy the soul completely and perfectly, unlike the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. So in this first verse, there is also many, many more instructive parts, which Lord Chaitanya emphasizes as being the benedictions that one receives from chanting the holy name. I was just listening to Srila Prabhupada. He was speaking just this morning, describing Chaito Darpana Marjanam, that Chaita refers to mind, Darpanam refers to mirror, and Marjanam refers, and Marjanam refers to cleansing. So the mind is like a mirror in the sense that it reflects what's outside, what's inside outside. We see the world through our what we call colored lenses. Reality is objective, but everyone has a subjective understanding of reality, and that is all due to our conditioned vision. So in the same way, when we chant the holy names of the Lord, because our heart is not pure, there is dust on the mirror of the mind. So by chanting, that dust gets removed, and then as Prabhupada explained in his lecture, then one can see yourself, and also one can come in contact with Krishna through his holy name. So the process is there, but it requires diligence, it requires determination, it requires understanding the principle of the holy name as being the foremost and most important part of our spiritual practice. As Yamaraj speaks to his servants, the Yamadutas, it's mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam 6th canto, he glorifies the whole process of devotional service to the Supreme Lord. But as part of that glorification, he concludes that saying that the most highest and most beneficial and most glorious activity of the human beings in society is to worship the Supreme Lord in devotion. But within that process of devotion, the most important and glorious activities is the chanting of Krishna's holy name. So we have so much, what we say, authoritative statements coming from great souls, from Krishna himself, from the Shastras, just to help us understand deeper what mercy is available in this form of chanting. And Lord Chaitanya has given such, what we say, foremost position in the process of chanting the holy names of the Lord. So we have to take advantage of it to get into some of the practical understandings of chanting the holy name. Maybe devotees would like to hear a little bit about that, because I know many of us understand, at least partially, or even more so, the glories of the holy name, but we are struggling with applying the chanting of the holy name in an effective way. So one of the things that we should carefully remember is, let's see, I just had it, is that we should make the holy name foremost in our day-to-day life. For instance, in other words, there is an advantage now that we have been somewhat restricted in our movements due to this pandemic, and therefore we have maybe more time in our homes. At least that's true for many people. We can now organize our day where we can get up early enough and chant the holy names. So making the holy name the first activity in the day helps to emphasize the importance of it. And it also kind of fulfills Srila Prabhupada's instructions that he would say that when you have completed your 16 rounds, you should know that you're protected from Maya. But then he also emphasized or repeated the opposite. He said that if you haven't chanted your vow, say you have a certain numerical vow, whether it's 16 more or less, if you haven't done your vow, then you should know that you can be victimized by the material energy at any time. So there's a certain protective merit that comes by chanting your rounds, and especially early. And the early times of the day, we understand that are also the time when the mind is somewhat less cumbersome with the day's thoughts and activities. So I emphasize personally, this is my personal emphasis, that we chant as early as possible and try to complete your rounds, and that way you are equipped with enough spiritual Shakti to take on the challenges that come throughout the day. Because the holy name will stay with you and guide you through that. When we chant nicely and we chant early, early rounds are also very fundamental to our development or our progress in spiritual life. Okay, so these are some things we can think about. We can speak about the holy name at least for the next, 20 years or so. There's no limit on the glories of the holy name. The Shastras are full of statements. The Bhagavatam glorifies it over and over. I guess what I would like to see is what are the concerns of the devotees in general. So maybe if there's some questions, we can take it. If there's no questions, I can continue with the same discussion. So let's open it up for questions.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
How important it is to get to the 16 rounds of a japa in a certain amount of time. For instance, right now my goal is 4 rounds, and I'm trying to find more time to get to the 16, but I'm not sure how long it should take me to get to that 16. Thank you.
So you want to know, you're more or less interested in some kind of progressive schedule that can take you from where you are to 16.
Correct.
Yeah. So that could vary from individual to individual, but I would say you should regularly, within a certain scheduled period of time, add another round. So I would say if you're doing 4 and you're doing 4 nicely, you can, after 1 month, you can go to 5, like that. And then each month add another round. But it's not that we have to stick to our limit. We can also chant more at any day, at any given time. We can chant any number at any time, but if we have accepted a vow of 4 rounds per day, the idea is not to go below that. That's the idea. So then gradually what you can do is maybe once a month, every month add a round, or if you're inspired. But the idea is to go up and never come back down. That's the idea. So as you continue to add one, make sure you can keep that vow and then gradually reach the 16 point. So get yourself a schedule and go for it. Thank you, Billy.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else?
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and all glories to you. Thank you very much for emphasizing the importance of the holy name. I was just thinking that many times we hear that we can get inspiration to chant better and better when we associate with good chanters. And what is this association means? So it's a chant together or hear from them or anything else?
Association in this regard can take on many aspects. You mentioned 2 of them. Yes, chant together, hear from them, serve them, associate with them in various ways. But Bhakti Vinod Thakur particularly emphasizes to chant with them. This is where he puts his emphasis on, because in describing inattention, he picks out 2 of the 3 types of inattention, which are called distraction and lackadaisicalness. These 2, what we say, deficiencies, cause us to, lose connection to the holy name. So he recommends that we sit down and chant with devotees who are very fixed in the chanting process, to overcome these tendencies for distraction and lackadaisicalness.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Very well. Does our host have any of his devotees there that would like to ask questions?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to you. Maharaj, thank you very much for the lectures and the glories of the holy name. I have a question. You mentioned sometime in a previous lecture that there is a book to improve the techniques of chanting. Um, can you please advise which book that was and which are the other publications or other articles we can read to improve the techniques for attentive chanting?
Well, that book you're referring to is the one that I think it's called Rising Sun of the Holy Name
Okay.
by Ishana Gore. But when we did a little research and we found that the book is available on Amazon, but the price is $100 for the book.
Oh.
It's a rare book. I worked together with the author to put the book together. He did most of the work and he consulted me and we discussed some of the points. And I wrote the foreword to the book. So it's an interesting book. I have a copy. It's sitting in my library. It's not a very big book. He wrote part 2, which I don't have. It's called Rising Sun of the Holy Name. But I don't think you have to really rely specifically on that publication. You can find, especially with which Sachinandananda Maharaj has given. What is that latest book of his? Who can mention it?
The Living Name, Guru Maharaj.
Yeah, The Living Name. So that book is well documented and gives so many, what we say, arrangements. In other words, various types of forums by which one can approach the holy name. It's quite diverse, quite complete, very explains things very detailed. And it's just connect with Sachinandana Maharaj's book publication, or maybe you'll also be able to find it on Amazon. The Living Name.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you.
Yeah, that one's good. Or you can also, I mean, there's so many books on the holy name, it's unlimited.
Hare Krishna, if there are any other questions, please ask Maharaj. We still have 5 to 10 minutes time.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Guru Maharaj. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to your holiness. My question is, as we are chanting and as we are trying to improve our chanting, how do we know we are really improving our chanting? How will we understand or see that? I mean, in what way can you measure your progress?
Yeah. It's an experience. Chanting is like not some theoretical thing you have to question your mind of whether it's happening or not. It's an experience. You're becoming happy. You're becoming energized. You're becoming enthusiastic. And then some of the indications in a general sense is that you look forward to chanting. You actually can't wait to chant. You always look forwards for opportunities to chant. That's one indication. Another indication is that you take prime interest in hearing about the glories of the holy name. In other words, you start exploring more and more the tattva, the holy name, which is, throughout Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 6th canto, 3rd chapter, there is so much on the holy name. In many other places also. So we develop an interest, we develop enthusiastic, we start to find more attraction to hearing kirtans, participating in kirtans. All these things are indications that we're getting a taste from chanting the holy names of the Lord. And your material desires are becoming less. If your material desires are not going down and you're chanting the holy names, that means you're chanting with offense. And therefore we have to be very careful to avoid offenses, because offenses are like obstacles that block our progress in the holy name.
Thank
Anyone
you so
else?
much, Guru Maharaj.
Anyone else?
Thank you, Maharaj, for this wonderful Bhagavatam class. And on behalf of ISKCON New York City, I again thank you for accepting this offer, and hopefully we'll be able to see you again. Just a quick announcement. In an hour from now, we have our GBC Radhanath Maharaj and Vaisheshika Prabhu giving a lecture, and I'll just share the Zoom link and password with you, and stay tuned for further updates. Next week we have His Holiness Chandrasekhar Maharaj giving a lecture on how to Krishnaize your new year. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
What time is it there now?
It's 7:59 a.m.
Okay. PST time is
Yeah, PST time is 4:59.
oh, okay, like that. Okay. How many devotees are sitting in your class right now?
We have 25.
Oh, okay. Okay. I mean, in the New York group,
That's difficult to tell, Maharaj.
you can discriminate. Okay.
Yes, but it will be available on the YouTube channel, so we'll have views, people seeing it throughout the day.
Okay. Yeah. I can only see about 5 or 6 persons. I don't recognize their names. That must be from New York. The rest are from the group that I do every day at this time. Okay, you sure there's no more questions? We're still ready to. Devotees are completely clear on how to chant and how to understand their relationship with the holy name. Jai Radhe, go ahead. I'm sorry. Jai Radhe, are you there?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, yes, I'm here.
Okay, so are you? No questions from Jai Radhe. Okay. Trying to see if there's any questions. It's such an important topic. We'd like to discuss it even further.
Guru Maharaj, I have another question. Ideally, how many minutes should each round take?
Well, I've heard one senior devotee give a class, and he said between 7 and 8 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I guess if we have
Maharaj, can I ask a small question, if you don't?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, Maharaj, as we go forward or as we keep chanting, should the desire be to increase our rounds, or is it to do more service, because we are basically praying to Lord for serving? So, should we focus more on quality and service, or try to increase our rounds so that
Well, that's an inspiration. You'll get inspired to do both or to do one or the other. Depends on what inspiration you get. You get inspired to chant more, you're going to be inspired to serve more. So that's individual. Or you might be inspired to increase in both areas. That comes, the holy name is inspirational. So as we're chanting and we're getting connected to the holy name, these things will also automatically come. We'll want to do more service and we'll want to chant more. And we can choose which one we want to do, or we might even decide to do both.
so is chanting superior to service, or there's nothing like that as such?
Well, chanting is the highest form of worship in this age, and service is an extension of that chanting. But on the spiritual platform, all spiritual activities are the same, or they're absolute. So if we're chanting and we're not serving, we're not going to be able to continue to chant. And if we're serving and we're not chanting, our service is going to be like work. So we need to balance these two things out nicely. We get inspiration and ideas from chanting in our service, how to improve our service, how to add different services to. These all come by chanting. Because chanting is Krishna. And Krishna is going to inspire you. When you're connected with Krishna, you open up all the avenues of spiritual life.
Guru Maharaj, would you kindly repeat that? I didn't catch it. If you are chanting and not serving, then what happens?
You'll probably, after some time, you'll lose your enthusiasm for chanting.
And if you're serving but not chanting, then it'll become like work. Is that what you said?
Yeah, our service will be more like work rather than an offering to Krishna.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So Prabhupada says a coin with two sides. A coin has two sides. It has an upside and a downside. So the two sides are sadhana and seva. Mhm. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
So my obeisances and to all the devotees. Vanchakalpa Tarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Vaibhacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Namaha. Sri Radha Govinda Ji Ki Jai.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Thank you.
Thank you, Jai Radhe.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gurudev. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you very much, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Gurudev. Thank you.